Prologue. It wasn't like her to slip out of the gallery before it closed for the night. But this was no ordinary man who had lured her away. The moonlight cast long shadows across Piedmont Park as Elise walked alongside her companion, holding his muscular arm. Her heels clicked rhythmically against the pavement, the sound somehow both delicate and confident, much like herself. The night air carried the scent of magnolias and the lingering warmth of a Georgia early summer evening. "I still can't believe you convinced me to leave our newest exhibition on opening night," she said, smiling up at him. The man beside her, tall, distinguished, with just a hint of silver threading elegantly through dark hair, merely offered a slight bow of his head in response. Elise knew she looked stunning tonight. The black cocktail dress hugged her curves perfectly, and she'd caught enough admiring glances at the gallery to confirm what her mirror had already told her. But it wasn't the usual trust fund patrons with their transparent attempts at flirtation that had captured her attention tonight. This man was different, refined, with an old-world charm and intensity that made the others seem like boys playing at being men. Plus, he reeked of old money. Elise suspected she could convince him to buy more than one piece he'd admired earlier in the evening if she played her cards right. He impressed her as an experienced collector who didn't second-guess what he liked or wanted to possess. "The exhibition will continue without you," he finally said, his voice carrying a hint of an Eastern European accent she couldn't quite place. "Art should occasionally be allowed to speak for itself, don't you think?" They paused beneath a sprawling oak tree, its branches creating a cathedral of shadows above them. Elise leaned against the rough trunk, feeling the bark press against her bare shoulders. The contrast of textures, smooth skin against ancient wood, sent a pleasant shiver through her body. "You're not like the others who come to the gallery," she said, tilting her head slightly. "They see art as something to possess. You seem to understand it." He stepped closer, the space between them charged with possibility. With deliberate gentleness, he brushed a strand of hair from her eyes, his fingers lightly grazing her skin. Elise drew in a breath, preparing a flirtatious response she knew would inevitably lead to their first kiss. She'd choreographed this dance before, knew the steps, the rhythm, the conclusion. But as she parted her lips to speak, his expression shifted. The change was subtle at first, a hardening around the eyes, a strange elongation of his features that she initially attributed to a trick of the moonlight. But then his face transformed. The distinguished features contorted and stretched, becoming inhuman, impossible. "What?" was all she managed before pain exploded across her chest. Where his hand had been so gentle moments before, there were now claws, actual claws, raking through the fabric of her dress, tearing into the skin beneath. Elise tried to scream, but terror closed her throat. She pushed against him, attempting to run, but her back was already pressed against the tree, and she had nowhere to go. His grip was impossibly strong, pinning her in place as easily as if she were a butterfly in a collection. The moonlight caught his eyes, reflecting an unnatural red glow that couldn't be real. Yet the pain was undeniably real, searing, sharp, and spreading across her chest in hot ribbons. "Please," she gasped, finally finding her voice. "Please don't." The words died as his face moved toward her neck. The last sensation Elise registered was the horrific pressure of powerful jaws locking onto the side of her throat. The sickening wet heat of her blood pulsing out of her body, and the distant rumble of thunder as the summer evening around her began to fade. Her last coherent thought was absurdly mundane. She would never collect her commissions from the new exhibition now. The rain began as a gentle patter against the leaves above, and then strengthened into a downpour. Water streamed down, washing over Elise's lifeless body, which lay crumpled at the base of the oak tree. The expensive dress, now in tatters, grew heavy with rainwater. By morning, the rain would have washed away much of the evidence, but nothing could erase the empty gaze of her eyes still open, reflecting nothing but the storm-dark sky above.